be on stage with the rest of the team right now because of the ear thing. So that's why if you guys are looking at the stage, looking at Inspired, you'll notice that the chair does seem a little more empty than it might normally be.
Yeah, a lot more.
I
was like, oh no, we got to.
That's a big presence to not have, but you know, he's still there in the comms. He's still able to communicate with the team and everything.
You saw him there with like one headphone on, one headphone off with the ear infection. But let's get into the draft here.
We're in. We're ready. Locked and loaded. Let's go. Okay, so LYON going to be playing from the blue side as C9 selected first pick. LYON banning out the Karma, the Seraphine, and the Orianna. Over on the other side, it's Pantheon, Varus, and Azir taken out by C9 as they first pick the Yunara for Zven.
And throwing down the Yunara so early. I mean, they do ban out the Varus, but we'll see what Berserker wants to reply with. Aphelios is another common answer where you can really use your level 1, capabilities with Green Gun. To go offensive and keep the Yunara in check and scale very nicely as well. So we'll see what sort of Yunara answers, because only banning out the Varus here, and we already got that sign answered, Flowers.
Yeah,
Neeko's been picked.
Neeko cosplayer vindicated, second pick of the entire day. You can't get much better results than that. So the Neeko locked in for LYON. Now what do they want to go with here as that second pick? There's our sign. That's what we're talking about. And they'll lock in the Vi alongside the Neeko. They're for Inspired.
Okay, so very, 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 very clear dive comp, Flowers. You cannot get more clear than drafting your support Neeko and your jungler Vi to say we are going to dive and kill Yunara. So oftentimes, we talk about when it's like game 1 and you're just throwing down first pick Yunara or Zeri or any sort of hyper carry like that, you're going to get hit with a bunch of point and click and a bunch of dive. So your counters aren't always just in lane, and they're going to be looking to kill Zven. But Vulcan will be looking to keep him safe with the Lulu here, and we'll see if Cloud9 can do that. APA Ziggs also on the menu.
Normally one that's always banned away from APA. The APA signature pick. They might just want to go ahead and wait on that one. Instead, going to lock in their own jungler. They want to make sure that they get something pretty high on the tier list to answer the Vi before the second half of the bans come in.
And one of the things is, especially with Xin into Vi, you have big advantage in combat pretty early on versus Vi, pre-6. Xin definitely has the advantage, and so you can force a lot of stuff. And jungle was a really big part of the matchup last time around in finals, where Inspired had a significant advantage over Blaber in several of the games, and especially the later games in the series, he was invading Blaber pretty significantly. But when Blaber's on Xin and you're on Vi, the Vi does need to farm, have a lot more focus on that early. So we'll see the capabilities this time around. Caitlyn paired with the Neeko Flowers, though.
That's scary.
The extra range here is going to do a lot early on, so going to have that pushing bottom lane.
This is also going to be pretty scary, I feel like, for C9 to try to play around neutral objectives into this combination, right? Like Neeko sneaking up through a brush. If you don't have total vision control over the area, the Pop Blossoms can just completely ruin the fight before it even starts. Caitlyn, if she's there first, is going to set up the trap lines to just give you this natural advantage based on the terrain. I feel like this lane can be very, very scary very, very quickly down here in the bottom lane for LYON. But since both teams have drafted their AD carries, supports, and junglers, it means the name of the game is solo laners. Here in the second half of the draft, LYON is going to go ahead and ban out the Cassiopeia first, while C9 takes the Ahri off the table.
And honestly, Cloud9 are going to need, Thanatos on an engaged kind of tank-style champion up there. Yes, APA can also play some engaged mid-lane champions. He is good at that, but with the Neeko being taken away, like that's one of the primary ones. He could still go a Galio lane in mid lane if they really wanted to, but otherwise, if it's a more traditional AP carry in mid lane, then you're looking at like Thanatos, Scion, or something like that, where you can have a front line for the Yunara to work around, and some engage on your side as well. Otherwise, you just get hit with Caitlyn in the back here with all the extra range. So we'll take a look. They are taking some of the mid lane engage options away. I like the Annie ban from LYON because of the Ahri ban as well from Cloud9. That matchup was a contested one last time around, where APA actually got solo killed on the Annie. by Saint's Ahri, which was not expected from the matchup. And then Saint went on to be a huge driving force in that game. But we'll take a look here. In addition to the Neeko and the Vi engage, adding a Ryze on top of that is always really nice because you have multiple ways that Ryze can play the game. You can split push to apply pressure, and then you're facing fairly short range champions already, so you can come and you can realm warp to the fight and have a huge presence there. Or you can play those really fun realm warps where you get Neeko popping the ultimate.
Oh yeah,
and then you realm warp the Neeko into the enemy team for a big engage that way.
Okay, so we've got the Ryze locked in for LYON. Makes the Cassiopeia ban make all the much more sense. Over on the other side, pretty quick response from C9, going double AP in their solo lanes. You've already got a powerful AD jungler in the Xin Zhao, so putting Rumble and Anivia in your solos is going to feel really good.
It is going to mean that C9 are basically all reactive here, though. They don't have engage other than Xin just running in and getting a Lulu ult on top of his head. So
and Anivia has that slow as molasses Q that she can throw at you and stun you.
So they're Cloud9, they need to get advantages in their lanes so that they can get to objectives first, and then they can, you know, get the advantage there by having LYON have to come to them. But they don't get a lot of choice as far as when to force things, and so it's going to be a lot of reacting. And trying to get advantages from lane to translate into early positions added objectives. If you get there to the objective really early, then you're going to have a huge advantage. Same thing here for LYON. They've got Caitlyn lay down the traps, and LYON have mega hard engage, as we said, even just from the first 2 picks. They have,
and then they put Ornn on top of it. That's crazy. So I'm seeing a lot more go on the LYON squad, and I feel like I want to see these guys just go, being that like coordinated style. Even if he's in another room, I hope Inspired is on the shot calling, coordinating everything.
Yeah. I will say, with these lanes for Cloud9, they should have both winning solo lanes here. Both Rumble should have a big advantage into Ornn, and then Anivia is a really good counter pick into Ryze. And so they should have some areas to work with, especially with a Xin Zhao early on. So we'll take a look at what Blaber wants to get to work, especially on the top quadrant of the map.
All right, let's do it. Hop into our first best of 3 of the 2026 spring split. You can see C9 already off to the most modest of leads, as APA has a 10 gold lead over Saint, thanks to clearing out a little bit of that vision there. Thanatos on the Rumble. You can see both of our top laners do have teleports as expected, so no extra shenanigans with different types of combat summoner spells here. Everything pretty par for the course. Electrocute for APA's Anivia for the extra burst and trading potential. Bottom lane, everything also pretty much exactly what you would expect it to be. No summoner spell books on either one of our supports, so there won't be any unexpected teleports or anything similar catching anyone off guard.
Yeah, so here we go. The early lane phase for the pushing Caitlyn and Neeko, and trying to push as slowly as possibly here, build up a large slow push on the wave, and then finally get to crash and harass at the same time. Try and kind of milk it there, and with the junglers going opposite, that is going to mean Blaber pathing away from Zven and Vulcan, so they're going to have to deal with the pain all by themselves. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we saw APA going in and using his auto to break the bone plating of Saint to try and prep for the next trade there. Pretty good spacing on the Q as well.
Okay, tri-lane view, just kind of showing everything. No critical mass hit in any one of the lanes so far, as it is LYON with the push in pretty much all 3 of them here very early on. You already touched on it a little bit, but we do have junglers pathing towards opposite sides of the rift. Obviously, C9 has to be careful about this wave crashing into the bottom lane. They don't want to find themselves at the mercy of Inspired's pressure, but we obviously know, since we have perfect vision, that he's still all the way back over at his red, as all 3 waves are kind of going to get crashed into the turret around about the same time.
Yeah, APA getting to work on Saint here, though, trying to work through these potions. Again, you know, you pop the bone plating with an auto or something early, and then he goes for his little electrocute trades, and he has been getting some good value. Doesn't quite get that Q, though. And it's about time for junglers to get involved, fully completing their full clears. Inspired has easy access to bottom scuttle, so it should just be traded with the top one there. for Blaber. But nobody really prepped for any dives or anything. You know, Zven and Vulcan, they were very respectful while they're getting pushed in. Nobody takes any extra damage, so they're not really diveable down there. And we'll just go into pretty smooth second clears.
Do you feel like we're going to get any early action, or is this more of probably just waiting till level 6s and seeing what we get at a bigger skirmish around like a dragon or something?
I mean, with nobody blowing any summoner spells early, I would say we probably won't.
Okay.
The one possible area would be for me around mid lane, because you do have a pretty good setup there. You know, Xin has very good combat effectiveness early, and if they try and do something on Saint, but actually Saint using his Ghost, he still has, you know, phase rush, and he has his flash though, so probably not too big of a deal. It's just going to be repeat second clears, and again, it is going to be inspired clearing towards bottom, whereas Blaber here will be clearing back up towards the Ornn, towards that top lane. So if there actually is an opportunity with the Ornn getting whittled down, and maybe they'll get to work. But this is Cloud9's record versus the entirety of the LCS, and then what happened at America's Cup, because you mentioned it a lot in the intro, Flowers, but C9, they spent the majority of our year just dominating everybody they
were on
played
top
until it got to finals, and everything came crashing down, and then it continued crashing down in America's Cup. So everyone is very curious to see how they bounce back. Dhokla goes for the flash, and Ryze is here.
Yeah, Thanatos with the flash away, tries to escape, but Saint has already arrived. Thanatos knows the only thing he could possibly try to do is make this one a 1-for-1. Dhokla continues trying to walk away from it. There's your Rune Prison. A little bit more damage from the Overload should seal the deal, and first blood goes over to LYON.
Very nice gank. That's even pre-Realm Warp here, only level 5. Saint making the roam up to the top side, and it counts for first blood. That is huge, Flowers. This Ryze is so pivotal in their comp, because not only is he big damage, you know, once you get the Actualizer and stuff later on, but huge split push threat as well will be available. So very big to get a first blood cashed in here for Saint.
Ooh, look at the damage on Zven as he tries to flash away to escape Berserker. Meanwhile, back over in the mid lane, APA versus Saint. Health bar's getting low. APA, though, might just be cooked. Inspired goes forward, but the flash back over the wall from APA keeps him safe.
Yeah, he does not want to lose his egg early on, especially over there. Lots of flashes and summoner spells being blown. Bottom is vulnerable now. Saint, though.
Whoa! Saint overplays his hand a little bit too confident there, and APA with the burst damage from the electrocute takes him out.
And the last little bit of his mana, too. He had down to like 5 mana there.
Yeah, calculated.
Barely had enough for the combo. He gets it off, and there you go. Just like that, he fights it back. Flowers, that is crazy. After just getting ganked and losing his flash, able to get the solo onto Saint, who also... Saint just does not use his own flash.
Yeah, and honestly,
thought he could win.
That's great for APA, considering Saint was the one who benefited from the first blood roam up top. He's the one who got the kill gold there. Now that little advantage he might have had is no longer there, as APA hits him with the classic XD. I like how he makes sure that he still capitalizes both the X and the D in this. But he's back to his old ways. APA going to be happy with that one. But the biggest difference so far, Kobe, in this game, hold on, we'll get back to it in just a second. Let's take one more look at how this 1v1 went down.
So this was the earlier gank where Inspired is going to get APA's flash. So we're seeing that again. But then really is about the follow-up trade. And APA is also very low on mana. So it's probably why Saint stays in there, because APA is so low. Yeah, that got down to barely any. That was probably single digits mana to be able to cast that E. Saint kind of smiling.
I like the smile.
He's like, ah.
He knows. He's like, come on, man. You really had exactly enough mana. But C9 are going to take their opportunity now to go for the Drake. As you can see, Isles and Berserker not really in a spot to be able to contest the control over this bottom side river that C9 has with their jungler. Biggest individual gold lead that I was going to talk about before we got the replay is Berserker over Zven. Whenever you draft Caitlyn, you want to see control over the laning matchup like this. The character's range, the bullying power that she has in the lane. Really got to make sure that you're getting ahead nice and early so you can have that tempo, take the turret as quick as you can, rotate her over into the mid lane, continue moving around the map afterwards, as we do have 20 seconds left on the clock until the Void Grub spawns. So that first Drake being taken by C9 was taken early enough that it's not like it even really comes at an opportunity cost.
Yeah, Berserker is dominating. Berserker is going to be a problem for sure. This Caitlyn, so much flat AD too with the early buys here for him. So the Peacemaker really packs a punch. You know, at this sort of time, and Zven, the wave is in a bad spot for him too. So you actually have Neeko roaming time at the moment, and Zven and Vulcan are like, all right, we gotta get this cannon, we gotta get it pushed in, so we can at least salvage something here from the situation. But Berserker has Owls coming back, and they at least do get the wave to crash there for Cloud9, and aren't going to be kind of held in any more denial for now because it's going to get the bounce back, but still just sitting on their coal and pieces there. It's going to be a little bit painful.
All right, checking in across the board. You can see Thanatos has completed Swifty Boots as his first item here on the Rumble. Over on the other side, Dhokla still having the ingredients, the components for the Kaenic Rookern. And it's kind of, it's the every tank into Rumble matchup is before Kaenic Rookern and after Kaenic Rookern. Once you get this item up, it really just kind of alleviates all of that pressure that the Rumble would normally have on you during those short trades. You can see, Thanatos still does have a very marginal gold lead over Dhokla. But if you're the Ornn in this matchup, you're totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even when you get to your Spectre's Cowl, this thing is so just OP. Of course, it's really Rumble. Good. Pops so much regen, got your good magic resist, a very, very good component there, and Dhokla has been able to get a refillable potion on top of it, so he has tons of sustain. And your Ornn just farming away. This is why the Ornn is such a common pick into the Rumble.
Yep.
Is not because, you know, you're supposed to get solo kills or anything versus him, but you are going to be a huge tank for the team later on, and you have a very good time kind of weathering the storm. And he was even able to set up the first blood for Saint with his flash for the brittle proc. So Dhokla has been doing his job really admirably, very nicely on top side, and we'll see once he gets to join and show off with his Ornn ultis. He puts his full power on display, but I think everything going pretty well for LYON aside from the solo kill where APA was able to take down Saint.
And I mean, going back to what we were talking about towards the end of the draft, for a game that's honestly been pretty quiet for these first 10 minutes, I feel way more comfortable if I'm LYON, if the game is on very even footing, just because their team fight mechanisms, their engage buttons, are so much more effective than Cloud9's. I don't feel like Cloud9 is in this spot where they can just say, yeah, it doesn't matter that we don't have engage.
Yeah, and again, it is going to come back to, can Cloud9 kind of get good positioning early at objectives? And currently, since they're losing a lot of territory on bottom side, especially with the tower getting whittled down, I think it might be difficult. If they can, they do have a lot of defensive tools. Remember, they're going to be really reactive.
Yeah.
A good Anivia wall, Xin ultimate and Lulu ultimate here. Maybe they can still create positive fights for themselves. It just has to be kind of in response to LYON's moves, which is usually not where you want to be, because Inspired is very good at leading this team, and they have some really decisive tools at their disposal.
And here we go, the engage coming out onto Blaber. Inspired leads the charge, Saint right behind him. They're trying to burst down the Xin Zhao, but it's Inspired who's down to 100 HP now, reinforced by the shield, and he stays alive. APA wants to try to finish off the kill, but he doesn't quite have enough damage here just yet. Thanatos alive, but APA's egg gets scrambled. A double kill for Inspired as the Vi still lives, and Dhokla chases after Zven. A little bit more damage from Saint is all they need, and LYON just slaughtered him.
Okay, I know Inspired is the GOAT, but Isles is actually what saves the day here. Isles comes in on the Neeko. That was clean. Flash with the ulti. He gets 3 of them, and he makes sure that they win the early kill. And the early kill is so important. Look at Blaber right now. Isles gets all 3 of them, and it allows Inspired enough time to turn it right back around, heal back up. He flashes away and gets APA's flash, who had tunnel visioned on trying to kill the Vi here, goes into egg form, and Dhokla had been creating space on the other side of the fight. That's it, Flowers. LYON wrap it up at the Dragon fight. Very decisive play. They Vi ultimate in, they win the skirmish. Good move up there from Isles through the river. And we kind of talked about this in finals as well. Hold on, as Dhokla's got to create some more space for himself and get out of there.
That's all right. He's got Kaenic Rookern. He's pretty tanky here. Thanatos does hit the first Electro Harpoon. No, hits the second. Not quite enough damage, though, and Dhokla walks away.
All good. Performing his duties admirably, as we said. Something we did kind of talk about in finals was some of the really good games that Isles actually had. His Poppy game was really, really good. And Dhokla's back in there. He got his shield.
Yeah, Dhokla sticking around for now. It's APA taking the turret aggro, and Dhokla nearly gets the outplay, but close isn't good enough. He almost got them both, but C9 picks up their kill.
Dude, I saw the vision, though.
I could see what he was going for.
I saw the vision. Dhokla wanted to do more than just take damage and farm CS, Flowers. The weak side king trying to get a little frisky with it. He does not get a kill, but he does make him sweat. But
man, it would have been cool.
Yeah, he made him sweat. Anyways, because APA has tower aggro, he flashes to get the brittle proc and push him back, but he needed another tower shot. APA was able to walk out before the last one, and so he goes down. Yeah, he made him seat check a little bit.
Yeah, I got to sit up straight after that one. Make sure that you're really locked in. But it is still a nearly 3,000 gold lead for LYON, Kobe.
Yeah.
Like, they're, after that fight in the bottom side river, they are just feeling so comfortable. It was 500 gold before that, and then just instant 2,000 spike after taking that victory. And here's Berserker. He's got his Hex Optics already completed, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Once Caitlyn takes the turret in her lane, she becomes the wrecking crew. She just moves around the rift, continues to put pressure on all these objectives, and LYON are just forcing their way down mid lane. This tier 1 turret is not long for the world.
Yeah, about that plan of trying to get Cloud9 ahead early so he get to objectives early and force LYON into bad spots, I don't think that's on the menu.
Nope, Inspired goes in after APA, diving towards the Anivia. Does not have backup next to him here just yet, but he will force the C9 mid laner away. Blaber and Vulcan both in the area means LYON do not want to overcommit on trying to secure this kill against APA, so the Anivia lives to see another day.
Yeah, he's been getting into a few dangerous scenarios while he has no egg, but no death from it just quite yet. And it gets really dangerous for Zven to even get farm anymore because the mid tower is also down, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you have to have people on both sides to be able to make this happen. But off their reset timer with the teleport used from APA, they are going to try and force down this Rift Herald. And Dhokla's still bottom with no teleport, so I don't think LYON are going to have any illusion that they could contest. Just keep Dhokla split pushing down there while they wait for the last little bit of his teleport cooldown and get the wave into bottom side. Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 did get the Rift Herald, but minions are dying to the tower on bottom side. Dhokla should be able to get at least a turret plate, you know, maybe 1.5 down there.
And I feel like when you look at the scoreboard, there's one point of power for C9, and that is Thanatos. They have to play around this rumble. They need to get good value out of the equalizers if they want to have a chance at taking a fight.
Problem is, it's really hard to do that because, as we said, they are very light on CC. So, like,
how do you stay on the carpet?
Yeah, who's going to keep people on the rumble ulti? Is it like
Anivia wall?
Blaber prepping his Q and then going for the knock-up into Anivia, you know, wall and Q as well. You know, it's, yeah, obviously it gets a little difficult. It's not going to be super easy for Thanatos to have very, very high value here and keep people in his cooker. But we'll see.
The cooker. Gotta let him cook. And reminder, we still have tickets available for April 5th. That is tomorrow on Sunday. So if you want to come out and check out the LCS live in person, we'd love to have you here. As it looks like we are setting up some Caitlyn traps, Mr. Kobe. LYON wants to control the top side of the river here with Berserker. They've already taken 2 of the tier 1 turrets. Why not make it a full set?
Yeah, control they shall have then, Flowers.
I believe they will.
Full top side controlled there and walled off. Bottom side, though, weak side again. Big dope.
Here we go.
You know what's up.
The name of the game is try to kill this Ornn. They go right on in. Dhokla busts the Anivia wall, wants to get the R2 out of the Ornn horn, does, but he does not have enough damage. And again, it's one more tower shot that would have made the difference in getting the kill. But C9 still accomplishes their dive. They're going to summon up the Rift Herald to take the turret after, but at the same time, Saint is taking the tier 1 turret on the top side.
So the last one.
Huh? That looked a little bit strange. Okay, APA fighting back towards Inspired. Has the TP coming in from Thanatos, ready to reinforce the C9 mid laner. But Isles is also nearby to make sure that nothing bad happens to Inspired. So we will have the tier 1 turret trade across the bottom and top lanes.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the last attempt there from Dhokla on the previous like 2v1 on top side. I saw the vision. I was like, oh, I'm down with that one. But this one, because LYON were setting up their top side play so far in advance, you had ample time to kind of just abandon the bottom side, weak side, and get out of there. And so that one, I don't know. You don't want to give too many kills back over to this Cloud9 comp. They are very low on CC, but they can be high on damage if they get the gold to do so. So have to be a little bit careful here with how many of those kills you're giving back over.
Well, we do have the Infinity Edge fully completed for Berserker's Caitlyn now. We've got Seraph's Embrace fully evolved on Saint's Ryze. The Rod of Ages, 6 out of 10 of the stacks inspired. Also on the 2-item power spike here for the Vi. LYON is at some serious points of strength, and they're trying to use that strength right now. Inspired with the ulti engage onto APA. Dhokla ready to try to follow this one up. Inspired does not want to overcommit to this here just yet. Blaber is ready to join the fight. Vulcan's also moving up towards the area. But LYON are not going to do any more for now. Inspired is already backed away into the jungle. C9 again trying to find the kill onto Dhokla. The equalizer forces the flash of the Ornn, but Dhokla stays alive this time. Meanwhile, the entire time, Saint is split pushing down in the bottom lane. This is what we talked about with the Ryze. Yes, you can have fun doing realm warps with Neeko in team fights, or you can just park your butt in the side lane and grab yourself some free money.
Yeah, and he's at 2-item power spike, feeling pretty good. 6 stacks, 7 stacks now on the Rod of Ages.
I see what you did there.
It just happened to change over. It just happened to change over at the moment. Honestly, though, it's kind of rough for C9. That was 2 lanes pushing for LYON in exchange for just pressure on the Dhokla side. So you just get the one. They did get their tower at the very least, but they
lost 2 of the tier 2 towers.
It's still pretty rough because you're in a situation where you're behind, and so you have to take the losing end of trades, very often. So you lose out on basically 2 for 1 in lanes and a dragon.
And you can see Vulcan and Blaber are trying to see if maybe they can catch Inspired unawares, make a unexpected gank towards the red buff, catch him there. But no, Inspired is ready. He had the vision in the brush. He secures his buff. He walks away, doesn't have to spend anything really to do so. So we've got a 2-to-1 dragon count so far. It is a Chem Soul, which is also going to lower the priority on dragons in general. So not really going to be one of those it's got to be Soul and it's got to be now type of games. We are 20 minutes in, so one big team fight, one way or the other, could spell a Baron. But we're still not quite there yet. And honestly, this gold has been frozen in time ever since that last, like the 3-for-0 fight in the bottom side river. It hasn't really moved.
Yeah, and that's better for Cloud9 to be able to keep the difference the same. The longer the game goes on, obviously that's going to be better and better for them if they can keep it stable. But we'll see. There's some darkness in their jungle, so they don't know about the backside of the red pit here. And LYON trying to squeeze a little bit more out as they've got Dhokla down on the bottom side. So Dhokla now does have his teleport, and he's level 14, so going to be able to start handing out some upgrades, Ornn upgrades. And guess what? Berserker had better get his upgrade first. You want that Caitlyn with as much damage as possible. And so IE plus the
Hex Optics.
Wait a second.
Ooh, okay. Isles gets away from that one. C9 trying to maintain their control over the topside river here. A few minutes ago, I talked about how a lot of the LYON players were hitting their 2-item power spikes, and now C9's squad are catching up. Fiend Hunter bolts done for Zven on the Yunara, full 10 stacks for APA on his Rod of Ages. We still need Blaber to complete his second item completely, but overall, C9 is at a point where it looks like they could try to find a fight.
And Dhokla is just down there freezing. So again, it's just 3 lanes now for 2 lanes of farm basically in favor of LYON. They're always like +1 extra lane while this is happening. So Dhokla down there, he's just, whoa. He's just farming, keeping the freeze and then waiting to use his teleport.
Ooh, Inspired with the supercharged blast cone over the wall there. All 5 C9 players are in this topside river though. Dhokla still making his way up here. You can see Saint also posturing to potentially join the fight. LYON's looking, but they got to make sure they don't go too soon after whatever it is they want to go for. And instead, they're just going to allow Berserker control over the wave, access to the minions, get that one shoved out. There's no dragon for another 2 minutes, and they're not strong enough to want to just hard force the Baron here. So ultimately, we kind of just, everybody stares daggers at each other and then walks away.
Yeah, so they're just going to keep on farming. Dhokla there did just give the upgrade to Berserker, by the way. That was the animation. Upgraded IE now for Berserker. I mean, it's just going to get so difficult because how did Cloud9 like deal with the Caitlyn once the Caitlyn is, you know, like fully operational in the back line here?
That's the neat part. You don't.
Yeah.
She's just going to, the extra range from the Hex Optics is going to make this character so difficult to deal with for a composition that really doesn't have a ton of range in it on the C9 side. APA with that Anivia, with the full 10 stacks on the Rod of Ages. You can see he's almost level 16, so at least they have a ton of wave clear. Like, LYON is going to need a Baron to actually break into base.
Their siege is also really good, too, so... Yeah, I don't know. It seems like Cloud9 are like they're just kind of forced to sit and wait for an opening or a mistake. And so the best thing you can do when that is the case is try and keep up really good vision control on your side of the map, because that allows you to jump on any openings that do present themselves. When you don't have the ability to force a lot yourself, you need to create those options out of vision control. And so they're trying to do that. Like, they have decent vision control of their side of the map, and Blaber kind of walking around. But LYON have not presented an opportunity to Cloud9 just yet. They're kind of trying to like bait and get LYON to overextend and over-index. But Ryze is walking from base now, so LYON gonna wait.
Okay, Blaber loses about 1/3 of his HP right there. Berserker has rapid fire cannon completed on the Caitlyn now as well. We got another stare down, Kobe.
Yeah, and the siege is just going to go to their advantage. Here we go.
All right, LYON decides they want to go in, and they immediately jump after Blaber. Defensive Xin Zhao ulti, keeping him alive for now. Wild Growth also reinforcing the Xin's health bar. It's a 1-for-1 trade here at the very start, but Isles again! Beautiful CC from the LYON support, and the rest of the team is ready to follow right behind. It's a 5-for-1 ace for LYON.
All right, Isles, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10.
Yup.
For this game.
Whatever. Number out of number. He got the whole thing, man.
2 out of 2 Neeko ults.
Yeah,
have been really
that's a
good.
2 out of 2 for sure.
They have been really good. And honestly, LYON overall, they're continued their controlled gameplay.
Yeah, I think we have good items.
Looks good for us.
Look good.
That was nasty.
I like that looks good.
Yeah. No, that definitely looked good.
Real good.
That looked real good to me.
Oh my God, Raidover just sitting back in his seat, cracking up at that one. And yeah, they really had him in a good spot. But I like that we got the little here, you know, the little kind of comms listener from the Cloud9 side beforehand, where it's something that you had just touched on, where they're like, oh, you know, at least we are now on our 2-item power spike, so we now have some items for ourselves. Maybe this is the best possible time that we can try and like catch back up.
Unfortunately, Isles said no.
Yeah.
He just immediately denied that premise. Now LYON does have the Baron, and this is what I was mentioning earlier, is yeah, you've got the Anivia wave clear, but this is kind of the way that you break through that. So I feel like LYON really is going to want to use this pressure. They're going to want to go pedal to the metal here, and you can see the pressure already mounting in both mid and bottom lanes. Remember, these tier 2 turrets died a long time ago, Kobe, so it's very easy for LYON to just make a beeline straight for the base, and sure enough, tier 3 turret is already broken down here in the bottom lane, and the inhibitor is about to go with it. Realm Warp back over into mid to bring the minions with them. Now Blaber is rooted up, could be in some danger. Dhokla wants to hit him with the Ornn, and there it is. Berserker takes the kill on Blaber, as now Thanatos arrives, only to immediately find himself caught in the cupcake trap. Now he's got to try to run away. Ace in the hole is going to take him low. He'll be forced back into the fountain. Sync continuing to just play as aggressively as possible as C9 scrambles to try to clear waves. But the problem is, now you don't have Blaber. That's your only frontliner dead for the next 30 seconds, and the second inhibitor falls immediately.
Yep, LYON, they're not even stopping there. Berserker can keep up the siege.
All right, LYON looking to maybe take it all the way to the Nexus. APA is about to die to Berserker, but no, a beautiful stun from APA, keeping himself alive for now. Zven goes in and he at least secures the kill on the LYON AD carry. The shutdown for the Yunara is big. It's going to at least keep C9 alive a little bit longer.
All right, they just bought themselves some extra time in the game. How much more can they buy? Zven wants the chase down.
Now, Isles is seeing if maybe there's a punish to find here, and Zven, he steps too far forward, and LYON pounce. They take out the Yunara, and C9 now, they don't have enough damage left. They're gonna have to stop chasing.
Yeah, I mean, that was just born of desperation from Cloud9. They know the game has just been slipping away from them for a long time now, and so they really wanted to make this comeback moment a bigger comeback than it was. They didn't want to just stall.
I don't blame them.
They didn't want to just stall out to then lose again later, so they were hoping they could actually get some more meaningful gold. Unfortunately for them, they could not. Too close to the wall there. Nice little turn from Dhokla, and that is going to put a stop to that. LYON retain their ginormous gold lead.
Oh, yeah.
And we're only 2 minutes and 45-ish seconds away from the Dragon Soul Flower, so LYON could be very patient. This is a very patient team, usually, and so they can continue to just control the game as they have, you know, for the last like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And they could just wait for the Dragon Soul / Baron if they want to. Again, the Dragon Soul is going to be like 10 seconds ahead of the Baron, so you can go there first. And then the 10-second delay plus the fact that you have Ryze means that they can't do like a desperate Baron rush. If they do, you run warp over there after deleting the Dragon instantly, and you kill them at the Baron pit too. So it's actually quite good for LYON here. They can just calmly split push again, set up the map fully in their control, and go for the Giga objectives, or, you know, see how well the siege goes and maybe just end the game before those things come up.
Yeah, they can kind of do whatever they want, and I got to keep going back to the compositions here. Like C9, we said from the very beginning, they've got to be in a position of power. They've got to play from ahead because they just don't have any engage mechanisms. As soon as you lose that 3-for-0 fight in the bot side river around the second dragon, the game's just kind of out of your control.
And here's the thing. You can say, you know, if you don't have any engage, like that's just very straightforward. But you can also turn the tables if you have range advantage. But they don't have range advantage. So if you don't have both of those things, then it makes it really hard to play. You know, if you have range advantage, then you can poke and you can like make the enemy team have to engage on you.
Right, the pressure's on them.
But if you don't have range advantage because Berserker's got a Caitlyn with 10 billion range here with Hex Optics and rapid fire, then like you don't have range either because Ornn ultimate is also very long range and Caitlyn pressure. And so Cloud9 are in this really tough spot where they don't have the ability, you know, strong ability to engage themselves, but then they also don't have range advantage. And so, yeah, it does make it super difficult. And then also the not winning early part. So.
Yeah, that part's also really tough. When Caitlyn is just absolutely stomping the lane and you've got total control over the bot side through that, it's a nightmare to have to play into. And you can see Berserker and Dhokla putting the last little bit of damage onto the only remaining tier 2 turret on the C9 side. 8-2 in turret count, I feel like, is a very accurate descriptor of how control over the Rift has gone in this first game.
Yeah. I want to see Berserker damage to towers after
Probably
the game.
really high.
I mean, yeah, his damage to champions and towers probably both very high. Caitlyn is siege machine. So it looks like they opted to you know, do the setup here for the dragon we were talking about, Flowers. So this is going to be it. Is there a miracle in store for C9? Because if so,
now's the time.
You need it now.
Now is the time. Vulcan gonna lose about half his HP here. Immediately flashes out of the second half of the Call of the Forge God. So LYON are gonna commit some resources there. Force out the flash from the C9 support. Dhokla just takes no damage from anything at all with the empowered shield from the teleport, as C9 are still scrambling to try and defend here at this Dragon Soul. Blaber, however, chunked down to half HP. And remember, that's their only frontliner. Isles goes in, APA forced into the stasis, flashes away to escape the follow-up from Dhokla. Blaber still frontlining as Thanatos walks up right behind him here with a Flame Spitter. Dhokla forced to flash, stays alive in the meantime. Blaber with only 300 HP and no ulti, though. That Xin Zhao cannot re-enter the fight. Yeah. The Dragon's going LYON's way.
That was good damage from Saint over that wall. Saint on the bottom side of the thick wall here was able to blast him for the last little bit, force the ultimate, and there's the Dragon into Realm Warp Baron combo that we were talking about.
You called it, my friend. It's just so tough to deal with this when the enemy team is this far ahead, when they've got the Ryze. Now you've got the Chemtech Soul. Now you've got Baron #2 for LYON. I feel like this has got to be your game-ending push coming up.
I will not take that bet.
You're not going to take that bet? Okay.
I agree.
Okay. If you were going to take that bet, I was going to be like, I'm going to be interested to see how you would spin that one, because this is just... The game state just feels so impossible for C9 to find an angle without LYON having a major blunder.
It is so cool to see the rapid growth of LYON. Just think about how early we still are in this year, Flowers.
Yeah, it's only April.
The lock-in tournament was very short. That wasn't even like a normal long split for you know, for LCS or anything.
Like
that was
a little baby split.
Exactly. Very short little tournament that we just had. And from the beginning, well, Blaber is toast.
Yeah, I don't really see a world where you can get away from this one. Yeah, Xin Zhao ulti's nice, but having 5-item Caitlyn is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I mean, this is the upside of this LYON roster that people were debating. Oh, are these really strong players going to be able to work together very quickly? How long is it going to take for the chemistry of this LYON team to really come together? And so I think the quick ascent of this team from the beginning of lock-in tournament to the end of lock-in tournament, then showing up at first stand and you know, honestly taking Brazil, but then also some very good like early games at the very least versus JDG. Obviously they fell apart and they lost some very winnable positions internationally, but still very early. And now they're going to go for the end on this game.
Yep, APA forced into his stasis yet again as Inspired engages, and they full send after Zven. Guardian Angel is going to proc here on Inspired as Isles finally falls. APA stays alive and gets the shutdown on that enemy support. But considering Inspired didn't actually die for real because the Guardian Angel purchase was completed, LYON is still going to keep pushing forward. APA losing the passive, losing his life, and C9 are just about losing this game. First Nexus turret's gone. Second one falls before I can finish my sentence. C9 are forced all the way back into the fountain. LYON are going full in for the full dive, but it won't even matter. 16-6. Game 1 goes to LYON.
LYON look like they want to stay at the top of the LCS, Flowers.
That was a nice performance in game number 1. Once they got ahead, they stayed there. Lounge, what are we thinking?
Woo! LYON has not missed a beat since the last time they were in the studio.
Yes,
everything outside of the studio, questionable, but in the studio, completely on point. This game really did turn at around 11 minutes, which we're going to be breaking down here at the computer.